Hey everyone, it's Michelle from Puzzle. If you're wondering when you should stick to one workspace or when you should start creating others, then this video is for you. The quick answer is to break this into two different use cases. The first use case is if you are a single organization and you're only mapping processes for your internal operations. The second use case is if you do work for other clients, whether you're a freelancer or an agency where their work is your work and you're delivering to clients, then you should have separate workspaces. So, what's the benefit of having separate workspaces if you're doing work for other clients? The main reason is that each puzzle workspace acts as its own relational database. They each hold their own roles and tools and entities and attributes within those tools. And each workspace becomes increasingly powerful the more information is tailored to that specific business. Let's go tab by tab to understand why it's useful to have each client separately scoped out in their own workspace. Starting out in the Workflows tab, right off the bat, it's useful to have only this one client's processes laid out in this way. If this were a real client, we would have more processes mapped out and understand how their demand generation brings in leads and then how their sales team works those leads. What's the handoff to customer success and project management? We know with confidence that when we land on this client's workflows tab, we're looking solely at this client's processes with all of the nuance and details and assets linked that are specific to this client. Now, if we hop over into the Teams tab, it's important to speak their language. When you have clients, what one team calls demand, another team might call sales, for example. And when your work is their work, it's important that we're using the exact names of each team and each specific role so that we're all working towards the same goals. And as with everything in Puzzle, the data that we enter here on the Teams tab is connected across workflows. So if we click on this specific role, we're getting an aggregate of all of the steps that this specific role is responsible for that's notated in the Workflows tab. Now let's go over to the People's tab. The People's tab is where things become more personal. Puzzle generally takes the approach of roles, not souls, as you'll see evidenced in the Workflows tab and the Teams tab, where we place a big emphasis on role title. In the People tab, now we start filling those roles with the humans on the team. And as we know, oftentimes these can change. Perhaps one person at the moment is playing two roles because somebody else is on maternity or paternity leave. This is where you assign those roles to individual people. So for example, Michelle here, I'm going to tag her, myself, as the customer success manager as of right now. And I can also indicate the tools that this individual person needs to successfully complete her job. And if you're working with clients, it also becomes increasingly important to protect the integrity of their processes and ensure only the right people are invited to their respective workspaces, which you do here in the People tab. Now let's move on to tools. The Tools tab is where you can plan and understand your client's tech stack. So whether you're making a decision on which CRM to implement or deciding if you can consolidate certain tools, all of those types of decisions can happen here with the power of the tools being connected to your processes. Once you've mapped out all of your clients' processes in the Workflows tab, you can come here and see that all of the tools that have been used and tagged within your steps are automatically aggregated here. This is a very light example where we only have a few steps mapped out, but you can already see that the tools on the left-hand side here are being ranked and have the total number of steps where that tool is used. So if we click on Gmail here, for example, I'll click this arrow to open up more info. Now it's showing me all of the steps where this is tagged. I can indicate that this tool is actively being used, and I can add notes here about how my client uses this tool. Gmail might be a very straightforward example, but as your client's tech stack expands, there are often lots of nuance that is really useful to capture here. Having visibility into just how integrated each tool is in your client's processes leads to really insightful conversations where you can offer your perspective as to how heavy a lift might be to migrate a tool, as well as ensuring that every step is accounted for when doing a tool migration. And so, again, having this type of structured data specific to each client and their needs becomes increasingly more important and helps keep you increasingly organized. Because let's be honest, if you're dealing with dozens of clients and their processes are nuanced, it becomes impossible to just rely on your own memory. And having it visually laid out like this ensures that you feel comfortable and confident in your documentation and becomes the visual that's often needed to help facilitate these conversations that are often quite dense and technical, but having it all laid out visually and matter of factly helps yourself and your clients make confident and educated decisions. So, whether you're mapping your own internal processes or your client or agency, Puzzle is the solution that helps you get everyone on the same page and creates that operational database for your whole business. How are you using Puzzle? Internally for your own operations or for client work? Or both? Let us know in the comments, as well as any other comments, feedback, suggestions that you have for us around videos to create or features that you'd like to see. We love hearing from you all, and we want to make this content as useful for you as possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.